Cameron, my good friend. Well, firstly, hello, ladies and gents, for those listening slash watching. Welcome to the late Invoices show. I'm Matt Pearson. I'm joined by my lovely co-host and dear friend, Cameron Hall. Cameron, how are you, my man?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I'm good, man. I'm good. Getting ready to do some more 3D today, so I'm eager to,
What's on the agenda
you know.
today? What you working on? What object?
So I finished. I mentioned last time that drone project, which I was hoping to finish. So I did that, finished it. So now I'm moving into portfolio, and then obviously from there, it might take a couple of months to get a portfolio. Multiple projects done.
Yeah.
To then start reaching out to people.
You need to have a word with Jack about the sunglasses.
I know, yeah. I keep thinking. Also,
Yeah.
I've spent a good amount of time, probably like 6 hours, speaking to ChatGPT. Back over the weekend, and I was speaking to it about like, okay, well, I got some references that I really liked, just other people's work that you like, and then I put it into ChatGPT, and I'm like, why do I like this? Like, out of all the stuff that I like of 3D, these are the things that I would probably want to make myself, and it broke it down, and apparently, I'm really interested in human, like things that have been engineered but like for humans. So as an example, a keyboard or a pair of headphones or like a game controller. Like apparently I like that sort of stuff where it's like grounded in like reality a little bit, where people have to use it. So not like an iPhone, like I guess like an iPhone, but I don't really,
More like
I don't
the
really like that
ergonomics
aesthetic.
of like
Exactly,
how
yeah.
something can be beneficial for human use and make life easier.
Well, in terms of like, it has screws and it has panels and it has like, it has to be like put together, and it's used by like human hands technically. And I was like, that's really weird because I never noticed that. But every single thing I had chosen all kind of landed in this. It wasn't like a car. It wasn't like, I don't know, something else. And so, have you seen the Nothing Instagram? The brand. Nothing. The way they present their stuff, it's like clean and sleek, but it's not like Apple clean. It's like just technology clean. It's quite. I like stuff like that.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I like stuff like that. So I did that, got the references, and that's what I'm going to be doing over the next few days, is figuring out how bad my 3D truly is, so that when I try and make this portfolio,
Nice, bro.
but it's good because then obviously I'll come across some of the things that we talk about on the pod.
Yeah.
And I was just saying a minute ago, I think there's only a few things. Like I used to think, oh, there's all these things you need to do. And it's probably helpful for the listeners as well. Like, I think all I've been able to identify is portfolio and then like posting and like networking. There's not really, once the portfolio's done and you've got like a website, it's just more about being seen and also kind of like reaching out, like constantly trying to like do stuff. And other than that, I don't really think there's a lot of other stuff you can do. So I don't know. Like, it's quite nice to be on that side of it and, be on the side of the beginning again, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, I'm excited to see how it goes.
Thanks, man. Thanks. What about you? How's things? How's
good, bro. Good. I had a good
YouTube.
Yeah, I had a good weekend. I had a little shoot on Friday, and do you want to see something cool? This came through the post. So you know how I'm going to Milan?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going on a Nike trip, and they sent me this through the post, right? So this is my ticket. So this came through the post, right?
What?
How cool is this? So it's Nike ACG, and basically we're going on a train journey from Milan into the Alps, and they sent me like right, and this is my like this is my train ticket. How fucking bougie is that?
What?
So we're going through the Italian Alps, and it's going to be pretty mega.
All right.
I love, and we're getting kitted out with like clothes, shoes, and everything that will be at the hotel when we get to Milan.
Oh my god,
it's pretty cool.
You've reached that point in your career. You've reached the point in your career where like it's now an experience when you go to these things. It's not just like, oh, going doing a shoot or whatever. It's a full on like.
This is a weird one. So basically, Sports Shoes are sending me out with another girl called Hattie, who I've done loads of stuff with before. I recently shot her for the cover of Running World magazine or Running Weekly or whatever it's called. Okay. We get on really well. Her name's Hattie Pearson. No relation to me. We get on really well. She just happens to be like a radio presenter.
Hattie Pearson, and Matty Pearson.
Yeah. She just happens to be the radio presenter for like Hits UK or whatever.
Okay, cool.
So anyway, Sports Shoes sponsor her, but they had 2 spots on this trip, so they're sending us both out. And I'll obviously capture imagery of like her, but and also I'll get some bits for my own stuff and the trip, and it's just gonna be mega. So Nike ACG are basically relaunching, I think. So this will be coming out soon, and yeah, very excited, mate. So that'd be a
Did
cool
you know
trip.
that you was getting that? Did you know that you was expecting something like that? No.
No.
Oh my god! Wow. Okay.
And so when we get to the hotel, we've got loads of kit waiting for us. So I'm hoping I get some. And basically, Nike ACG are doing all of Team USA's kit for the Winter Olympics, and it looks mega.
Okay.
So I'm hoping we get some of that. Not that I'm obviously Team USA, Team GB, but it would be cool nonetheless. So yeah, we're going on a train into the Alps, like up all. I don't really know what we're doing. It's a bit of a surprise, I think. So it will probably be an activity for us, but obviously I'll have my camera in hand. I'll be rocking the DJI Nano, and I'll just try and get loads of bits for a YouTube video and stuff. And obviously I'll report back on the pod. But this is not for another like a week or so. So
okay.
Yeah.
You made it sound like when you was like, obviously this isn't for another like month or two, and say like, oh no, just next week.
Well, when this pod comes out, I'll be going the week after, I think, or that week or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, exciting. But yeah, other than that, mate, chilled weekend. Just spent some time with Yaz, wedding planning, all that good stuff, and then
big steps.
Yeah, and I was helping my mate move house this morning, and then I'm straight into the show. I've got some meetings this afternoon, getting on that, week start. So
yeah, very
can't
nice.
complain. But what you were talking about earlier leads us, about how different tasks and things you need to do as a freelance creative leads us really nicely in today's show. Because what I want to talk about today, and this just sprang to my mind, is being busy versus being effective. Now, I think we're both culprits for this, and I had a big wake-up call, I think, towards the end of last year. I think I'd spoken about it on the show about how productive are you really being. So I want to, talk about today about this kind of, are we actually really moving forward? Is all the stuff that you're using your time with to be busy actually being effective and pushing you forward in whether it's career, whether it's a passion, whether it's a hobby, whatever it is, but is it actually useful? Is it useful spending an hour or two figuring out how to reply to that email to that client, and like all of these little tasks that add on or add up together, tweaking your captions forever, re-editing the same shot 12 times, endless gear research, deciding what you might want to buy next. Like, is it really important, and is it actually an effective use of your time? And I've realized it's not. And once you realize that you're thinking you're busy, and I love this term mental masturbation, because that's what it is. We tell ourselves we're being effective and busy. We've spent all day, I re-edited some images, I updated my website, I replied to these emails and all this kind of stuff. And you can talk yourself into thinking I was actually really effective today. But what did you create today? Did you plan for a shoot and go out and shoot something? And before you know it, you look back over the last 2 months and you've planned loads of shoots and you've got ideas and you've updated your website.
Your references,
but have you gone out and created anything? No. So it's not being effective, and it's really easy to just fill your time with stuff and make it feel like you are being effective and busy. When in reality, I don't think that's always the case. It might be better that first hour of your day is your admin. So you reply to emails, you get back to stuff, and the rest of the next 6 hours of your day is spent creating. And that's either going out and shooting, getting a shoot date in the diary, pulling a team together, actually doing the things that push you forward. So before going, too far into it, and there's some kind of points that I want to talk through. Is there anything in your, illustrious career, Cameron, is there anything that springs to mind of times where you think you're being effective, but actually in hindsight you were probably just keeping yourself busy? And is there anything that kind of...
Yeah, well, something that springs to mind immediately is my showreel for my video. Like, like I have a showreel on your website or your portfolio, whatever. I remember, even I think when we were updating it a few years ago, it took like 3 months to get it finished because we ended up grading it and sound mixing it. And
it was consuming all of your time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was like, this is really not... realistically, it wasn't that big of a priority. We just needed something to go up on the website. And obviously, I think at the time, also, I knew that this was not a priority, but at the same time, it was like, well, if you're going to make it, we've come this far. It was what is it, sunk cost bias, where like we had already put a lot of time into it, and I was like, I'm just gonna maximize it and then get it out there. And then obviously, I think we all do this with our website, where you spend a lot of time making your website, and then you never look at it again for like 3 months when you need to update it. And it's like, so yeah, like my show reel is the first thing that comes to mind, or portfolio. Yeah.
And I think those things are important, right? It's important we have a website. It's important we have a show reel, but you know, your work is your work. So the 3 months you spent on the show reel, would it have made a difference if you'd have spent a week on it? A lot of the clips would have probably been the same.
Well, realistically, so, you know, we had sound design, we did sound mix, we did proper grade, and I think proper grade and all that stuff's great. But realistically, I probably could have just taken already mastered and exported video projects and just took like, oh, this 10 seconds from here, put it in the reel, all on this project, and then just put like music over it. And I think about, so there's a guy on YouTube called Robert Machado, and he's like a cinematographer, and his show reel is literally just one music song from like a music place. For some reason I can't think of one. I don't know, Artlist, something like that. And he just has like a montage of different clips from all of his projects. It's not like edited together and transitions together really well or anything like this. It's just a showcase, and it's like, that's all you need, right?
Lets the work do the talking, right?
Exactly, yeah. And if you are interested in like the actual creativity or anything like that, then go to the actual project and look at that specific thing, right? And I don't know, I think I've made a few websites over the course of my career. I've made a few show reels, and I fall victim to it every single time. And I think, again, this time with the 3D, I'm making sure that I'm not going to spend like a million years just trying to make it look perfect. And then, you know, it's never. And also, how many people really go to your website? A lot of times when you've got a network, they reach out to you on WhatsApp, or like you already know them and they don't need to, you know, so... You know, you might only get your website visited to, you know, a fair amount of times compared to, you know, someone seeing you on Instagram, for example.
Yeah, so it's weird. Like, so my analytics at the moment, I'm getting about 600 website views a month, which is
Jesus.
Like really.
Okay.
But I'm assuming.
Never mind then.
No, but I'm assuming that's through my. Well, again, no. So I'm assuming that's through my socials, right? If I've got, you know, if my page is pulling in anywhere between 500,000 and 1 million interactions a month, obviously off the back of that, some people are going to view my website. Fine. But I could sit and arse around my website all day long. I probably spent a day on it and then I'm done. And like, but you could tell yourself you need to spend a week on it and this and that. And like, yes, things like that could always be better, but my time is probably spent actually going out and creating, sharing stuff, posting stuff, new projects that get people talking, they get people saving, they get people messaging you, and that's probably my time is much better spent. And I think that, you know, if it doesn't create output, improve skill, or generate opportunity, it's probably a comfort task. When I think about, like, I say comfort tasks, I think I look back to my time living in London, especially when I first started out, and it would be like my task list for the day would have 3 things on it. It'd be like update website, reply to emails, and like edit these photos or whatever, and then that would be it. And compared to now, with like there'll be 12 different items on it, and like all of the admin that is reply to email and etc. I can do that in an hour if I really ask myself. If I was efficient, not on my phone, not procrastinating, not being distracted, could I do my emails, my DM like responses, like everything within an hour? Probably easily, yes. My WhatsApps, everything. But you know, replying to emails just as a general task, like you could probably spend like an hour or 2 doing it. Or outreach, but saying the word outreach really loosely instead of saying like I'm going to email 5 people and then moving on, could spend all day kind of like meandering through and like, and I think a lot of these things then become comfort tasks. I think they're important, but you can spend so much time on them telling yourself that you're being effective and busy when actually you're not. And I look back and I think that's definitely the case for how I used to be. 1,000%.
And you also mentioned the emails there. And I remember when sometimes like keeping up this facade of being a professional does make... Oh, did you just get a notification?
Yeah, sorry for everyone that just saw that email.
that might be anyway. But yeah, like I remember when I used to do my emails, and there was like this facade of wanting to be a professional and, you know, have these systems and kind of follow like the thing, and like it was almost like a full-time job trying to make sure that you did things properly and trying to make sure that you was a professional. And now that obviously now that I'm further along, and I really like, I would take ages to do an email, for example, or respond to a client. Like, that's one of the things we were talking about before we started recording. And I think now I would just be like, need to reply to this email, and I'd just be like, yeah, that sounds good. And that's it. I won't be like, oh yeah, that sounds good, thank you for booking that, or whatever. Like, I'll just be like, yeah, that sounds good, cheers, or something. Like, it's just not that deep. And obviously, I think if there's a first introductory email or something like that, it's different. But if you're just talking about a shoot, a lot of times it can be, as long as, like, you should be professional in lifestyle, not like trying to be professional, just like, you know, as if you're a good person and you take it seriously. I think that'll be felt anyway. You don't need to act professional.
Well, there are tools now to make it more effective anyway. So what I will do...
AI, literally.
Yeah, like, so I reply to the email and I'm reading it, and then I literally spit out everything that's in my head. It's an absolute mess. The grammar's all over the shop. And I'll copy, drop it into my email tabs into ChatGPT. It kicks it back out at me in a tidy, professional manner, and it just goes back and I send it.
It's really helpful as well when you can say what you actually want to say, and then you give it to ChatGPT and you're like, can you just make this sound... polite, nice, more polite.
But like, so that's but what would have, you know, people could spend 20-30 minutes like faffing around with an email, now takes 4 or 5 minutes, and it's things like that can speed up the, you know, the time that you've then got back to be effective, essentially.
I would also say that something that used to take up a lot of my time was proposals. Now, I try not to do proposals because of that exact thing, but when you've got like a few projects that, you know, you're potentially going to get hired for, and they want a proposal or something, like a, you know, project price. It might be, obviously it's different when you're freelancing, you just, you know, you've got your own rate or whatever. Yeah. But when you're doing it for proposals, it's a bit like, proposals just take ages. And even if you template them, it's like, you've got to fill in the details. So I don't know, like, there are some things that do take time, but I shouldn't be taking like 3 days, for example, to do something.
No, and also, you know? I think big artists, from what I can make out, like big photographers, directors and stuff, seem to outsource their proposal writing. So they'll get someone to help them with it, and they'll get someone that's really good at proposal writing, and they'll tell them what their ideas and stuff, and then they can focus on what they get paid the big bucks for, and that's being a creative and being effective in, you know, that sense. And I look back at last year, how many personal projects did I shoot? Like...
You're like 8 or something.
9 or 8 or 9. The year before, probably 1 or 2. The year before that, probably 1 or 2. The year before that, probably 1, like, if that. And so I had a big wake-up call last year in terms of like being effective. Like, those projects are what are pushing me forward, getting views, getting people talking. I'm actually creating. I've got a camera in hand, and I'm doing the thing that I'm best at. And that's where I'm most effective. So that's where you're better off, like, spending more time doing things like that. And I think preparing feels safe because it looks like work. So you can do all this preparation for a shoot, and you're like, oh, I'm going to think of some ideas for a personal project. And you spend a week like cooking up this personal project, but like actually going and doing it, people don't follow through with. And that's because creating is vulnerable, right? Because there's a chance it's flopped. You spend all this time thinking about this, coming up with the ideation, coming up with ideas, mood boards. A lot of people don't always get to the team bit, but you might have put a team together and think, yeah, I want to use that model. Have you actually reached out to them yet and asked them? You know, you want to use this and you want to use that. And I think the creating is the vulnerable part, because there's a chance that, it won't look as good as I thought it would, or it's not like it was in my mind. And that's why people don't follow through with it. So the preparation part feels comfortable and it feels like work, but the creating part is where you're really going to get the reward. And that is either it's going to look the way you wanted and you're going to be buzzing with it and it can go in your portfolio, or you're going to create it. It's not going to be the way you wanted, but you will have learned a hell of a lot more than sitting at your desk, staying in the ideation phase.
Yeah, well, with the projects that you've shot, you just reach out to people constantly now, and you're just like, oh, do you want to shoot? It's like, when you was first doing that, say, at the beginning of the year or whatever, was there, like, some resistance to you being like, oh, I've reached out, but now I've actually got to go and shoot it? Like, was there a nervousness there of having to, like, commit and go over that line of, like, damn, I've actually got to, like, find a location and actually go and do this now? Because obviously, again, like, preparing is really easy, but then the actual...
Well, I say to people in mentoring when they do a session with me, it's like, if you can get to the point where you've got someone on board and you've locked them in on a date, great, because you have to follow through now. There's no turning back. And I think that's like is the point of no return, right? You've got someone on board, they're up for shooting with you, they love the idea. You've said, when are you free? And they say, cool, 23rd of Feb. Sweet. Fuck, now I've got to put a team together, I've got to make it happen, I've got to find a location, but it's going to force you to do it and follow through with it. And like, yes, of course you're going to be nervous, but you getting out in there and creating is what's going to make you a better artist, full stop. And you kind of sat in your office or your room kind of thinking about ideas and stuff isn't. And if you keep doing that, you're not going to have anything to share with the world and allow people to watch you progress as an artist either.
Yeah, and it from my experience, I think I used to get, like, you do get lost in the business, not necessarily the business side, but like trying to get client work, and you forget that actually you're in this to just create, and do photography, do video. You're not really in it to do it only on the client work. So you can always, in a way, it's still a win to be going out and doing your personal projects. You don't have to be getting paid for it, so to speak.
Is when your work gets good, the personal work is what brings in the clients.
Yeah.
You going out and creating and getting better and better and better and shows people that, like, wow, this person is super passionate. They create insane work. They're super enthusiastic and they create incredible stuff. I'd love to bring them in on my brand. And it actually gets you noticed. So
they see their brand in like what you've created.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's like artist admin, right? Which is like your emails, your invoices, your decks, your DMs, tax. Right, don't get me wrong. There's a place for all of that. But I'm encouraging people that are listening to ask themselves, am I spending all day doing that? Can it be narrowed into an hour of my time in the day, or a certain like block of time? And then can I spend the rest of the time doing artist output, which is shooting, writing, editing, pitching, collaborating, releasing work, curating it, sharing it, like all of those things that actually push you forward in terms of like where you want to be. And like a really good prompt, a good debate prompt that ChatGPT has kindly given to me. If you had 2 hours today, what gets you closer? Replying perfectly or shooting something imperfect? And I can tell you hands down, it's shooting something imperfect. I can tell you that for free. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, going out and shooting something imperfect will push you way further along in your journey. And this is a great reminder to myself. Will push you way further along than just spending all day trying to write the perfect reply and send the perfect DM. Let the work you create do the talking.
Yeah. Do you know what, like, again, seeing myself in this, like, I think one of the things I really fell a victim of was I started to care so much about just caring about it so much that I made every single like email and every single thing like really take time and take things. And it's difficult because when you are earlier in your career, you have like less leverage, you have less network, you have less like project, like portfolio, and so it's almost like these things matter more.
And like you say, it is a case of like when you care a lot, and of course you care a lot, right? It's your work, and when you become your own business, there's so much emotion attached to it. It's not like you're going in to an office and working under someone else and your name isn't attached, your face isn't attached. It's so different, isn't it? So when you care a lot, you're like, yeah, I want to take more time with this reply, and I really want this job, and I really want to win it. So I'm going to spend more time, working and it's your website, so you want to spend more time making it perfect. Before you know it, you've wasted like a couple of weeks. Not wasted, but you've prolonged the time that it should have taken for like a 1% difference, or like, I don't know if we put numbers on it, like maybe a 5% increase of you getting more jobs, but you actually going out and shooting a project and sharing your work might have a 25% increase in getting you more work. And like, that's just me trying to put numbers on it, but I think it's a really interesting thing. It's something that we definitely just get so caught up in as creatives and freelancers, like really badly. So yeah, so I suppose it's a bit of a reminder to everyone listening, and like something that we've all been through before. So maybe for those listening, ask yourself, like, is there something you're kind of a task that your comfort task you're almost hiding in? Is there something you're delaying? Is there something you're prolonging? Because, how many of you are being distracted by, picking up your phone that's on your desk every 10, 15, 20 minutes and replying to a text from a mate, or scrolling through social and then putting it back down? Like, you need to allow yourself to realize how effective you can truly be when your phone is in a cupboard and it's not distracting you. And you've got how it was crazy how much you can get done in an hour when you're truly focused and not distracted. You could probably get all your admin done and your website updated with a recent project in that hour or that hour and a half time block that you've set aside if you're truly focused. And then you've got the rest of the day to create, And I think we forget to create as creatives, which is so ironic, but it's so true. So
yeah. Well, also I think thinking about, what works for you. Like I've found recently that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is my 3D days, and it's almost like it's like mindset wise, I just forget everything else. It's like I can't think of anything else outside of 3D on those days that I've set. So maybe it's something like that works best for someone listening, or maybe it's that you wake up and you stay up late and you wake up late in the morning, Maybe, or the other way around, you wake up at 5 and you go to bed at 9.
And it takes some experimentation, right? Figuring out what works for you is going to happen overnight, and it takes time, but experiment. Like, don't sit around and wait to experiment. Like, you've got to figure out what works for you, see how you're most effective. But it's something that we all fall victim to, 1,000%.
Well, the crazy. Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say. So I just thought it was worth bringing up on today's show. That was all.
Yeah, because the craziest thing is like all these years later in the career, and it's still just the most obvious shit, which is just like figuring out like what works for you, or do you like working from home, or do you like working from an office? Do you like waking up early? Do you like waking up like later? Like all these things impacts like how good your concentration is, and how like I really like doing creative stuff in the evening. I don't know why, but like I obviously. Working on client projects, I have to you're working in the morning because that's when regular people are at work. Yeah. But then these things you're almost like battling against. But then as soon as you do something that kind of fits in a little bit more with you, and you can understand like how best you work, then it almost just all falls into place, and you can just get on with things. And it might take you 5 hours to do it during the day, or it'll take you 2 hours in the evening if you just did it then. You know what I mean? Like there's weird things like that, and so everyone's going to have something like that. So I don't know, food for thought.
Food for thought, 100%. Well, I don't have anything else really to say on the matter. It's just like I say, food for thought for people to think about and kind of digest on this episode. Complete side note, I just want to say thanks to everyone that viewed my first YouTube video. Don't think we spoke about that. Thanks for everyone that viewed and subscribed. I think I've got like 45 subscribers. Woo, let's go, baby.
Nice.
And I've got another YouTube video coming. Well, by the time this comes out, it'll already be out. But slowly getting a feel for it. It's interesting, editing away on CapCut and figuring out what makes an engaging video. And I'm already seeing things that I'm not doing well. And I'm like, right, next time I record, I need to do this, I need to do this. So hopefully, by 10 episodes in, we'll be a little bit more fluid. Where's the best place for me to get music for my videos from, by the way?
I use Epidemic YouTube. Sound.
Epidemic Sound.
Okay.
Have you got a login for me?
I would say yes. However, you have to link your YouTube to it. Oh, so like even if you use the music, they wouldn't allow. Yeah, unfortunately. But
How much is that?
I think I paid 120 quid for the year. I think. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like £10 a month. I don't know. Okay. And also, ironically, I did that, and then I've only uploaded like 2 YouTube videos in like the last 4 months.
When's your next one come in? I thought you were.
It's recorded. It's like partially edited. I think I'm gonna get it edited this week because I did add some extra stuff to it.
Okay.
Now that I'm moving into portfolio stage, I'm gonna do a bit more recording today, and that will be another video. So technically, I'm starting on the second video.
Wow.
Of recent.
Can't wait.
But yeah, like if you're interested in Matt's photo journey and all the insights for him, check out his YouTube channel.
It's just
if you're
me
interested in my 3D, then check out mine.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's good. It's good though because like when I'm talking about my 3D stuff, it enables me to talk the way like in the moment, right? And it's the same for you. Like you can just talk about stuff. So we might talk about stuff on our YouTube channels that we don't talk about on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're in the moment when we're actually doing the stuff. Whereas here we're just talking about, like our learnings and our experiences and maybe recent stuff. But you're actually listening to us in the moment.
100%. And also, I want to actually speak quickly. Sorry, the South Africa trip, and we spoke about it in the last episode, and I just got back. Well, by the time this has gone out, I'll have shared some of those pictures. But I had this really weird experience with like going through the photos, editing them, and I basically realized that there wasn't as many good photos as I thought there was. This is going to sound really weird, but basically,
That's because you was on a high, mate. That's
yeah,
why.
and like Yaz was quite brutal, and she was just like, "This isn't your best work." She just looked at me. And she was like, "This isn't your best work," and I kind of had to say to her, "Look, well, it's a very different, different work in the sense that I have so in a lot of my work you see on my page, like I'm directing it, I've got control over light." Just all sorts of stuff. When you're there documenting athletes, which is something that I'm not super used to, like I was no interference at all, so I can't sit and like tell people to like stand here or move here. You're just having to photograph a raw session and capture it like as it is.
It's different context, yeah.
It's such a different kind of experience. So, the shots that I'm trying to line up, and I'm like, this is a really good composition because people are running through the frame in different foregrounds and backgrounds, and it's really cool. But she's obviously looking at it and comparing it to like a commercial shot. And
but she's also thinking about what you've told her about, your goals and what you're aiming for and all that stuff.
But I think you're right. I was on such a high from the trip and the experience, and I loved it. And I was like, I can't believe I get to do this. That in my head, I think, and we talked about how I delivered so many images. I almost overshot to the point that it diluted the work in a weird way. So I basically went through, and the post that I'm putting out, I went through and narrowed down 30 of my favorite images from all 3 days of shooting, and I went through and I edited them again, and I just spent more time with them, like with the grade, and like I noticed things I could have done better, and I'm like, fuck, I want to go out and do it again. But there were some things that I would probably take a little more time with and be a little less sporadic with. And like I got loads of running shots, but waist up. And Yaz is like, where are their legs? And I'm like, she's like, it's the most important part of the shot. And I'm like, well, who says so? And but I realized like there's things like that I didn't always incorporate, and just don't know, just really interesting things. And it made me think that I kicked out so many images that you almost then rush the editing process. And I had a fast turnaround for the client, so fine, I did the best I could. But when I sit down and be like, right, what is my best work in this as a collective? It wasn't like that many. She was like, there's probably 5 shots in this 30 that I think are like really good from you. And it's
I suppose that's the main thing though, right? Because people that are going to hire you are going to see that work from you, and they're going to go, oh, we like that, can you do that for us? They're not going to see like the work you did for this client and all the images that they post for their brand. They're just going to see, obviously they will, but you know what I mean, like the people that are hiring you will see your portfolio.
Other images were bad at all. They're like good images that the athletes wanted of them training, right? But I'm talking about me pushing the boundaries, being artistic, composition, grading, like all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was just a really interesting, but like, and then Yaz turned to me and she was like, but also you're the expert here. So my opinion is kind of like, is what it is. Take it with a pinch of salt. And it was a reminder to me that like, fuck's sake, Matt, like trust your own taste, back yourself. Like you've got an eye. If you think a photo's sick, just because someone doesn't think it's sick, it's this big reminder that how subjective art is, right? And you need to curate the work that you want to curate. And I desperately want to send them to people and think, oh, what do you think? And they're like, oh. And obviously we got your reaction on the show last week, and you were like, oh, this is sick, or this, and
it was completely different to what you thought.
Yeah.
I liked images that you were like, oh, that's my worst one actually, I think. And I was like, really?
So interesting. It's just a reminder to people that like, back yourself, trust your taste. Opinions can be useful, but too many whistles confuse the dog. There, you can have that one for free. Shout out
for anyone that was listening on the audio. Then me and Matt were smiling and staring at each other. We weren't just sat in silence doing nothing for like 5 seconds.
So shout out to Aaron Witchard when we were on the New York shoot. He basically just looked at me and he said, too many whistles confused the dog. He's like a 40-year-old camera operator, and I was like, that's fucking brilliant. I'm taking that to the grave with me. That's so good.
That's going
I'd
on
obviously
the
heard of too
gravestone,
many
mate.
cooks spoil the broth or whatever, but I'd never heard of too many whistles confused the dog. I thought that was brilliant.
Do you know what I hear about Oh, why can't I remember his name? Oh, who's the music rapper? The one that Tyler, the Creator. I think he talks about where you have to protect your, like, and obviously he's like one of those people who's strangely super confident in like what he does. And I think that's the same thing where you don't want to show too many people, because it's like you could post that and some of, you've had this as well, like the stuff that you think isn't that good, you post it and people think that it's amazing and you're like, oh,
that's why I'm really curious.
Oh my God.
Like, when I share that work this week, I'm really curious to see how it goes down and like what the people think of it. And do you know what I mean? It's this. So I don't know. Like, by the time this episode goes out, the post will be on my page. You can go check it out. You can see if it flopped or people loved it or people hated it. I don't think people are going to hate it.
I don't think that matters though. If it flops though, I think it's just like, well, just because of the numbers on an algorithm. Like, realistically, I think creativity comes a lot from, the way it's perceived is a lot from who created it. I think as long as you're putting something out, then it's perceived as like, yeah, but Matt Pearson did it. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and also I think it's really important to say, like, I was perceiving success based on if the athletes wanted to share it. So I had athletes over the last 2 weeks.
I remember you saying that to me.
Sharing the work on their page, and I'm like, oh, sick. If they're wanting to post it, that must mean they love the images. So in my mind, tick. That must mean the images are great. But some athletes like haven't shared it, and this is, again, it comes back down to art is subjective. It's all about taste. What I could think is a really cool shot of, say, Keely Hodgkinson, for example, when she was in camp, I might be like, this is the coolest most artistic shot ever. I love it from an artist standpoint. She might turn around and be like, I don't think I look good in that. And she won't want to post it. So it's really, so you can't, like, it's true. And you can't, or it just might not be, I don't like that kind of edit. But you can't then compare your taste to this athlete's taste, because their job is one thing and your job is another. And you have to, again, trust and back yourself. Yeah. Trust yourself, back yourself, what you think is good art. If you've got good taste, I think that'll always shine through. So I think a reminder to myself, and I think anyone listening, that you got to back yourself, go for what you think is the best. It's good to be, like, I've had advice from and sessions before where, a creative director or an art director with 30 years experience has said, no, Matt, this actually is a shot that I think is one of your strongest. And you're like, what? And like commercially, that would probably do way better on a website if a client saw it compared to another one. So I think it's good to get opinions, but just like I say, don't let too many opinions skew you from sharing what you think is your, favorite work, for example.
You really have to keep your finger on like your own creative pulse, don't you? Like and again, like, you've got context of doing it for work, but then there's context for you doing it for yourself. And what's annoying is that you can get lost in the context of work can overshadow the sort of like what you think is good, because it's like, oh, this is good, but you don't realize that you're also thinking of it in terms of a commercial aspect, not in terms of a just what you like aspect. Like, you start to like unintentionally blend the two tastes together, and then you're like, God, 100%. You get lost.
100%.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
Let's wrap up the show there. It's been a really good episode. Lots to go away and think about. Lots to, for both of us and maybe anyone listening. We hope you've enjoyed it if you made it this far.
I felt very honest in this conversation.
It did. I loved it. It was a great conversation, Cameron. What a way to start the week, folks. And we hope you have, I think by the time this comes out, it'll be February. So we hope you're having a great February. And we hope you have a really strong week, everyone listening. And
we hope you've got work. We hope that January and February have been quiet.
Let's create something. Let's go out and create. And no mental masturbation, please. And let's go out and create. That's the title
of this episode, mate.
Yeah. Right. We'll see you in the next episode, folks. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you a lot. Leave us a 5-star review on Spotify if you're listening on Spotify. It really helps us reach new people.
And the links to our YouTubes are in the bio of the podcast now as well.
Lovely. Well done, Cameron. Thanks for that. And we'll see you in the next one. Much love.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.